Hi, welcome to challenge 5 in the easy category. This one is called double letters. You are to create a function that takes a word and returns true if the word has two consecutive identical letters. See the examples below. Note that loop has consecutive O's, so we get true. Yummy has double M together there, so that's true. Orange has all unique letters, so there's no that would return false, right? And the same would go for Munchkin. Even though N repeats in there, they're not consecutive. So, and the same for the other letters, there's no consecutive match, so we return false. I think that's clear. We'll go over to the coding section. This is your chance. Go ahead and pause the video and implement this. I think you're good. If you've been working along with the series, I think you can knock this one out. And then I'll go into a solution as well. So I'm going to use a regular for loop to iterate over the collection of characters, which is what a string is. We know that strings have this length property. And so I opted for the regular for loop as opposed to a for each because I want to use an index. I want to know where I'm at in the word because I'm going to peek ahead one character as I iterate through it, and the index allows me to do that pretty easily. So we're looking for matching consecutive characters. We're going to start at 0, the first letter in the word. And I'm going to say if word 0, the first letter, or I'm sorry, not 0, I. If word I is equal to word I plus 1, right? This is saying if the current letter is equal to the next letter. That's sort of what we're looking for, right? A consecutive match. If word I is, then I'm going to say return true. And if I get through this, oh, one other mistake I made. Since we're peeking ahead one character, we only need to go to length minus 1, right? If we went to the very last letter, there's nothing after it, and this I plus 1 index would be outside the valid bounds of the array, and that would blow things up. So make sure we go length minus 1. We only need to go to the second to last character. This peek ahead here will look at the last character, and then our processing will be complete. So if we find that consecutive match, we're just going to short circuit, right? We're going to return early. Imagine this happens toward the beginning of the word. We don't need to keep processing through the word. We're done. We just have to say if this situation exists at all. And then if you happen to get through that entire loop without this being the case, you can simply return false, right? You didn't have any consecutive matches. So I think this should be as simple as that. We'll give it a check. And according to their tests, I passed, which is great. I think one important thing to note with this problem was that in this bit here, notice this is going to require the cases to match. In their instructions, they said if it has two consecutive identical letters. Now that's kind of open to interpretation. They should have been more precise in that, in my opinion. So imagine if you had an O followed by an uppercase O. That would not be a match in the way that I coded this out. If you think that two consecutive letters means ignore a case, which I kind of think it does by that wording, like the case shouldn't matter. They're the same letter, right, to us. Notice they didn't say two consecutive characters. That would be different in my mind. That would mean very much that case matters. But they're saying identical letters, and lowercase o and uppercase O is the same letter. So you could do something to ignore a case here if you want. It's completely open to your interpretation. In a real situation, I'd probably go ask whoever told me to do this job. I would ask them straight up, hey, look, what do you want differing cases to be accepted? And they would tell me yes or no, and I would do whatever they told me. So yeah, that one wasn't too bad. Hopefully you cranked that one out. As usual, if you have a cool solution or questions, hit me up in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching.